So, anyways, one thing I guess before we get into Oppenheimer,
I called
um,
it Oppenheimer for so long, and then I
some
watched the.
people call it
Yeah,
Oppenheimer,
I thought it was
but
Oppenheimer, and then I watched the movie and they were saying Oppenheimer, and I was like,
Oppenheimer
oh man, I've been saying it wrong.
is the Heimer open?
It is open.
So, talking about Greta Gerwig, so before Barbie came out, news broke out that she was going to be directing at least two of the Narnia Netflix movies.
Yeah,
And because Netflix announced years ago that they had the rights to make Narnia movies. And for a while, there wasn't really any news about it until this whole Greta Gerwig stuff. So it's become official, and she has confirmed it too. It's also kind of
she's making
funny.
like two, right? Two of
At
them.
least two. That's all
Yeah, I
they're
remember that
really
was a weird
saying.
rumor, and I was like, that'd be weird, but I'm like,
Yeah, and it also hasn't really been confirmed. Like, the people in charge, they like said that yes, the Narnia franchise is going to consist of movies and series or whatever.
yeah, that's so
They
weird.
haven't expounded on what that is, but
Yeah, I'm like, what would
I
like they make like they'll make like a magician's nephew movie, and then they'll make the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe like like a series, and then I don't
I think there
know.
are certain Narnia
It's
books
weird.
that would lend themselves well to being a series.
Yeah,
I think Magician's Nephew and Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe should.
those
Sorry,
should be movies.
yeah, but like something like The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, I think would lend itself well to being like, because it's already like a very episodic kind of story
That's
where
true.
it's like they went to this island and this
Even if this
happened
is
and
like a
went to.
4 episode thing and each one's an hour. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm really hoping that it doesn't mean that they're going to write like spin-off stories that are not canon at all.
Yeah,
I really hope not.
that'd be weird. I don't want them to. Yeah, that would be kind of annoying.
Yeah, I don't want them to like this isn't Star Wars.
Take like too many liberties.
Right, yeah. So, and for those of you who don't know, like we did a whole episode about the Walden Media Disney Narnia movies a little while back, and I'm a huge fan of Narnia. I grew up with the books,
Yeah, the
and
books are really cool. I have a really big soft spot for the first two movies.
yeah, yes,
Not Dawn
same here.
Treader. Yeah,
Yeah, neither of us like Don Treader,
yeah, it
but
sucks.
yeah. So I've been following the news about Netflix making these movies for a while, and this news has finally come out. So it's like this is the first time in forever that a name has been attached to these, and so it's like, oh, okay, so the Barbie movie's coming out. So that was a big reason why I wanted to see it, and then now I've seen it, and then after that, I have caught up on the rest of Greta Gerwig's movies, and so like I watched Little Women, and I actually watched the '94 Little Women with Winona Ryder because I
Yeah,
wanted to compare, and so I
I
watched her
noticed
Little
you rated
Women
Gerwig's higher,
just a little bit,
like half
yeah,
star more. Yeah,
yeah. There are things to enjoy about both of them. I think Greta Gerwig's is obviously like made better in
yeah.
terms of filmmaking, but there is a lot to appreciate about the '90s Little Women. Plus, I also like I grew up with my sisters loving that movie,
Yeah.
so there is some nostalgic attachment to it. But there's a lot that I really liked about Greta Gerwig's
Did you like that one
adaptation.
celebrity that showed up later on in the movie that I told you you'd be hyped
Oh,
for?
you told me about that?
I was like, there's an actor that shows up in it, and
Oh,
you'll be
yeah,
excited to
yeah,
see him.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good old Saul
Mr.
Goodman. Yeah.
Mr. Robert Odenheimer.
Robert Odenkirkenheimer.
Yeah, yeah, he's in that
That was
later on.
so surprising,
Yeah,
and
I knew you'd be like, oh
it
snap.
kind of caught me off guard because like I just could not have imagined
He's not
casting
really in a lot
him.
of movies. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like you
like
don't really
all I
expect
really
to see
know him as is like the comedy guy and Saul
and
Goodman.
nobody.
Nobody. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. So it was kind of interesting to see him as like this loving father figure.
yeah.
It's funny to say it out loud, but it took a while for me to get used to it.
Uh,
But it was, it was Bob Odenkirk, so I was happy to see him.
yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoy Little Women. I'm still, I don't know if you've you've seen Little Women, right?
I actually haven't.
You haven't.
I just know a lot about it
I
because
won't.
I know people that like love it.
Yeah, I
I've
won't
seen Lady
spoil
Bird
it.
though.
There were some liberties that Greta Gerwig took with the ending of it, and I'm still kind of figuring out how I feel
Yeah.
about it. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I really liked the characters and the performances were really good. You got Florence Pugh, Sherwood, and that's a joke that me and my sister have. Like anytime that we mention her name, like Sherwood, Saoirse Ronan, and Emma Watson, and the other girls that I don't know their names.
Wow.
Laura Dern is in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, very enjoyable. I saw some people saying that they didn't like Emma Watson's performances. I thought that she was good in
I
it.
heard. Yeah,
So,
she's supposed to be really good in that.
yeah, so Timothy Chalamet is
Yeah.
good in it. And yeah, it's a very I love the story. It's a very charming story, and I thought that she did a good job of adapting it. And so that shows me that she can do adaptations well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm praying.
Was the ending that she took liberties on, was it only different from the original movie? Like, did the original movie actually have a different ending from the book, or was this like
Well,
the one that's different from like the original
I've
story?
never read the book, but as far as I know, it is different from the book. But I heard that her excuse for the ending was because it was something that the author originally intended for the book, but never actually did it.
That's kind of cool.
So,
Especially if you have the old one that has the other version, and so it's kind of like this, just an alternate take on that. It's kind of cool to have like both movies that do different thing.
yeah, but it's like, yeah,
Especially if they're both good, you know.
Yeah,
like if one of the movies sucked, but then the good one had the ending you didn't like as much, that would be kind of sad.
Yeah, I'm still not sure how I've felt about it, but overall,
I have no idea about the ending, so I have no idea. But
yeah,
I'll watch it. I'll watch it
you.
eventually.
I won't spoil it for you because it is like a creative twist on it.
Yeah, and I don't have any I don't know the story. I've never seen the original, so I won't have any context of like how it's supposed to be.
Right.
So I'll probably just not even notice like anything weird.
So a lot of people, you know, like with the whole like recent Barbie thing and like people complaining about it being woke and all that, they're worried about her like adapting these. And here's the thing, it's not really because it's Greta Gerwig that I'm worried.
Yeah.
I'm worried because it's an adaptation that's taking place in the 21st century, because it's just something.
Or the Narnia movies modern day.
No. I mean, like, in terms of, like, if they make any changes to it.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I feel like the C.S. Lewis, like, estate is going to oversee it still. Like, I don't think they're going to, like, let them remove any of, like...
Yeah.
It's a very obviously, like, rooted in Christian story kind of thing. I don't think, like... his estate or whoever is in charge of the IP would let people
that's what
totally
I'm hoping,
obliterate
as
that
far as I
aspect
know,
of it, because that's an important aspect of those books.
Right, yeah. And as far as I know, Douglas Gresham, I think, is involved. He's the stepson of C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
And he was very involved in the Walden Media productions.
She probably won't be, like, writing it all or anything either. Like, not that would be, like, a bad thing, but they're probably going to have a lot of people that are like
there's probably going to be like a
of the Narnia
runner.
IP who will like oversee the script, and she'll be like the creative head on it and like direct it, obviously visually and stuff. But
yeah, last I heard, one of the writers for Inside Out was the showrunner.
Interesting. Okay.
That was years ago that they announced that. I don't know if he still is involved.
Yeah.
But I imagine that they're going to have someone who's like in charge of it, not Greta Gerwig, because so far she's only hired to direct at least 2 movies, but I don't think she's going to be like the overhead.
Yeah, it's not like she's running the whole thing.
Yeah, she's not the Breaking Bad. What's Breaking Bad guy?
Oh yeah, I'm blanking. I only know Peter Gold off the top of my head.
Peter Gold.
Because that's Better Call Saul, but
right. Well,
I'm forgetting the other guy's name.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
So
they'll probably have one. They'll probably have a couple people that are the showrunners for every single one that like make sure it's all like consistent. like
Yeah.
each one links together, and they'll have like different directors, kind of like Harry Potter. Like they always
Right.
have certain people, like the movies, you know, they always had people kind of oversee it, but each movie kind of had a different director. Some had the same directors.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a similar thing to that, you know.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they don't do any like changes to it for the sake of being like politically correct or whatever. Cuz like
That's the thing, though, is those movies don't really have anything to change in that regard. It's not like those
there
movies
is
or
one
this.
thing that I'm
What?
worried about.
Hmm.
So, in the land of Narnia, or I guess in the universe of Narnia, there is a enemy country called Calormen.
Calormen.
And C.S. Lewis was a huge fan of things like Arabian Nights and
Yeah.
Aladdin. He loved that stuff.
Hmm.
So he based the land of Calormen and its people off of like as if they're very inspired by like Arabian culture.
Yeah.
So and he's very specific too that these people have darker skin.
Yeah.
So but the thing is that they are the enemy. Not all Calormans are bad. There are some
Well,
good.
that's the thing is like that. I don't think that would call to just suddenly make them all white because if anything,
Well, I don't know.
that removes diversity. It could be like
I know.
it could be like a Fire Nation thing from like you know they're obviously like there's a higher government aspect that are seen as the enemy, but maybe they meet people from the nation that become friends with
Well,
them.
yeah. See, he does. He
Yeah,
has
so it's like
characters that are Calormans that are good characters.
it's like that's the thing is like I don't feel like they would feel the need to like remove that if they
I would
already have that
hope not,
element.
but
I
you
I
never
think I think
know.
that's a little too paranoid because if it was like oh they're all evil no matter
I'm
what,
not
just
paranoid.
no, I mean it's just, if it was like oh they're all evil no matter what, you know, only people with brown skin are evil. Like you never see an evil like a nice person with brown skin. That'd be a little different, but that's not the case. So I don't think there's anything to correct there.
I don't think so either. But you never
Yeah,
know these days.
I
Like
don't know.
if they get like too overly corrective and overly sensitive about that, I don't think that they should. And maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll be too concerned about whether it's too much of if it's too stereotypical, you know, of Arabian culture. I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers
I
crossed
mean,
and
when it comes
hoping
to
that they
stuff
don't
like
change
that, now
anything.
it's like you just get someone who is like knows that culture and is like educated on it or is like from that culture, and you get them to
Yeah,
help.
because in
You
the
just get
end,
them to help make it. You
it
know?
was out of an appreciation for that
Yeah,
culture. And it is also very crucial for one of the stories because there's this character who actually is like a northerner. He's white skinned and he realizes that he's not like everyone else. So
hmm.
he's like, I don't think that I belong here. I got to find where I'm truly from, you know. So that's like a very crucial point about his story.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping that they don't change anything about that. There were some changes that like the Walden Media adaptations made. Like in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the girls don't fight at all in the book. In fact,
yeah,
it's kind of like Santa Claus is, well, Father Christmas is like, yeah, you don't want to be fighting. It's very ugly for women, you know.
yeah,
And Walden Media made that change. The thing is that C.S. Lewis was a lot more. As the books went on, he did allow for women to like be a lot more like involved in battles and
yeah,
cooler. There is this really cool character that I love. Her name is Aravis, and she's also a Calorman.
yeah.
She's one of my favorite characters, and like she's this awesome like tomboyish kind of person who like likes to get in trouble and
Yeah.
fights and such. So yeah, there's like some slight changes that like that I wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
too
stuff like
much.
that's cool because it makes them more interesting. Like if you, it works for the movies because like if you just have them sitting out, just like where's the stakes for them, and it just kind of ends up being boring. So it's like a healthy change for like a visual medium,
Yeah,
and it makes more sense too. And like you get like her using like the bow and that become her thing. You know, it gives it a little more flavor,
right. Yeah,
and stuff like that. And I think you know there's obviously going to be liberties and some stuff will probably change, but when it comes to stuff like that, I think they will find a way to keep them in. And because if you just remove them and you remove any of the characters that are supposed to be like good characters and help out the main cast, all you're doing is removing even more like chances for diversity. So I don't think they would do that. You know?
I hope not.
And you know if it's about like they show them that like, oh, our nation isn't, it's like a Fire Nation thing. Like they learn, oh, not everyone in the Last Airbender, it's like, oh, not everyone in the Fire Nation is bad.
Right,
Whoa. And
yeah.
it's kind of like this parallel of like xenophobia and learning like, oh, just because you're from this country doesn't mean you're bad, and people learn a lesson and everyone holds hands and loves each other. Like if you can have a message like, if you can use that to employ a message like that, that's just like, that's just a good message. I mean, it's a basic message, but it's like, I don't think there's anything to really skirt around with that personally, if that's already an element of that story.
And so far, C.S. Lewis has not been canceled for it. So,
well, yeah, I mean, C.S. Lewis wasn't a bad guy.
We'll see. Well, yeah, no, he's a great guy.
Exactly.
He's like one of my all-time heroes.
Yeah.
So, and I'm also, when it comes to Greta Gerwig, I'm very hopeful. I think one thing she does really well is like she has a good handle on production design.
Yeah.
Little Women is great at she's really good with period pieces. So
I can see like the intro of Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, like all the scenes that take place in the real world.
If they go to Narnia and it's all green screen and looks like a Marvel movie, I'm going to kill someone.
I hope not.
I just want real sets so bad.
What I really would like is I want them to steer away from like the Walden Media dark and gritty Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I want it to be colorful.
Aesthetic.
They were trying to copy Lord of the Rings
and whimsical, and I want the locations to be mostly real if they can.
Yeah,
and just like one thing that I didn't finish it, but I kind of liked the approach with the Netflix A Series of Unfortunate Events series.
Yeah.
Where everything was very whimsical, but like the production design was real, So like if they could like lean a little bit in that direction, kind of, I think that would be cool.
I'd love to see it like the real world. Like it starts out and it's like shot like a David Fincher movie. Like it's dark and like the real world's kind of got this gloomy aspect to it. And they go to Narnia and it's just so contrasted, and it's such a contrast, and it's like colorful and bright and so much light, and I want Narnia to legitimately feel like a different magical plane of existence, I want and then they go back to the real world and it just looks and feel like almost like a different movie or something. Like I think that'd be a really cool style to go with.
That'd be interesting.
Be fun. At least make real life, I mean, it can still be shot well. I'm not saying make it look bad and boring, but like make it look pretty mundane, like make it look just very normal, and then you go to Narnia and it's like really bright and just beautiful and colorful, and I want Narnia to feel really visually special.
Yeah,
because that's the point. Is like they go there and it's like an escape from the real world, and I want it to feel like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. And I would want it to be magical and whimsical when it's necessary, but I want it to be like dark and like evil when that's necessary.
Yeah, don't make it like Tim Burton-y where like all the trees are like wacky and like everything's at a tilted angle, just like color wise, like just
have
make it
Johnny
bright,
Depp
make it
play
really
Mr. Tumnus.
Like make it I'm trying to think of like a movie example. I'm kind of coming up short, but yeah, whatever.
If you think of it.
I was trying to think of like a fantasy movie that's really bright and colorful, but I can't really think of one.
Yeah, I don't know, but
yeah, whatever.
So I'm trusting in Greta Gerwig. I mean, if they ruin it, whatever. We still got the books and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's also Netflix production, so like, I don't know, man. They kind of
They can be very much hit or miss, mostly miss.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting out the new David Fincher movie and it looks good. So it's not like, if they have like a good filmmaker, they did The Irishman, they can still put out good stuff.
They did Marriage Story.
Yeah, so it's like they're still capable, but
I wonder if Noah Baumbach's going to co-write the Narnia.
That'd be kind of interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if he helps, honestly.
All the characters are talking over each other.
But I think it'd be fun, and I'm not really too concerned about them messing with it too much, because they're going to have people who like oversee all the
I just don't want them to pull a Rings of Power, because...
Yeah, that's a little different. I feel like the rights for that got like... That's like... They got sold off, and like the rights for Lord of the Rings just got so like scattered, I feel like. And
sure.
And Lord of the Rings isn't like... I don't think that's like... It's a really bad show, but
Rings of Power, you mean?
I really just think Rings of Power is just like poorly written, but I wasn't like in terms of. Actually, you know what? No, it was all pretty bad. I was like, I don't know where I was going with that.
You're, like,
I didn't
trying to
watch
find-
it, and I wasn't like watching it and angry that it was like a woke mess or anything. So it wasn't bad in that regard. I just thought it was like just really badly written and just like none of the characters were likable. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like a really terribly written show. You know, and like it sucks because I remember the first episode being like kind of all right and it opens in a cool way, but. Man,
It's not good.
there's no way they're making more than like 2 seasons. There's like trying to make like
That's what they're saying apparently,
it's not.
but
No one like I think like what like
no one really likes.
didn't they say like 10% of the people that started that show finished it?
It's something like that.
It's
yeah.
like no one. It's bad. Man.
The only reason why
I watched it with Abby and we were both just like, we didn't even finish it. I was like, why is Galadriel like the most annoying character in this show? Like, what's the deal? Like, why did you make her so unlikable?
I finished it, and I just finished it watching it with.
I watched the clip of
YMS's
like the last
watch-alongs.
episode where it cuts to Mordor and it looks like Blade Runner 2049 in
Yeah.
the orange area, and it has a text show up that says Mordor.
Yeah, we talked about that in our ring. We
like-
did an episode about Rings of Power, the House of the Dragon,
Yeah.
and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. So you can go check that out.